Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of TK's Parking Lot Picks. Today is August 7th. We do have a huge Friday slate ahead. I'm going to only break down a couple of games I like for hitting and some spots I like for pitching. I'm not going to get too detailed here. Like I said, a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I'm just going to give you some of my favorite plays for tonight, and looking forward to having another good night. Last night was not our best for the cores, but you know the days keep turning, and hopefully we'll get back on right in the ship today. So first up, just want to talk about pitching as a whole. Not much down at the bottom I like today, so I'm going to be paying up and trying to find different ways to fit some bats. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag kind of night, but yeah, a lot of top end pitching I like. First, we'll start with Matt Boyd for the Detroit Tigers, going up against the Pirates. Boyd is a strikeout artist lefty, 11K per 9. Excuse me, sorry, just had a sandwich. 30% K rate, 40% hard contact rate, and a 44% fly ball rate. So is acceptable to giving up home runs, but he does get a big ballpark in Pittsburgh. So I do like his matchup as well. Some of the big bats for the Pirates are lefties. He does have a 307 BABIP, so he does give up some, so the average against him with balls in play is relatively high. That means he's getting a little unlucky. With a 14% swinging strike rate, I like his upside to produce some high K numbers against the Pirates, who do strike out quite a bit. Next up, we got Trevor Bauer in an 8.5 total. Even favorite, or an even line, just slight favorite. 10.6, quite hefty price for Bauer, but he does average 10 Ks per 9, 27% K rate with a 12% swing strike rate. So Bauer can create some whiffs and some strikeouts. Only a 227 average against last year with a 287 BABIP, so he does give up some unlucky hits. Most of his hits are homers. It's all about if he's walking guys. If Bauer limits the guys on base, he tends to do pretty well. He's going up against a Brewer ball club that has strikes out a lot. Yelich is not the same this year. They don't have any of the big boppers in the middle like they used to. Really high on attacking the Brewers this year. I do like Bauer in this spot. So Bauer going to be a good GPP option on the slate. Next up, we have Aaron Savali in the Indians going up against the Chicago White Sox. We just saw this matchup, Savali versus Cease, not too long ago in the series before the Indians played the Reds. Savali, it's an 8.5 total. The line's even at the moment. He is 9.3, and his K numbers are extremely higher than they are on average. Based on his career, like last year he was only 7 Ks per 9, and I think in the first two starts he's got over 7 and 8 Ks in each start. So Savali's really overachieving at the moment on his K numbers, but that could be due to off-season progression. We'll see this with young pitchers like Savali. The K numbers could increase, and that could be a new norm for him. I'm not certainly thinking Savali can't progress as a pitcher. He is a good prospect for the Indians. He's got a 40% ground ball rate. The hard contact rate's below 40. That's good to see. But last year he only produced 8% of swinging strikes. But that number's drastically increasing this year. The White Sox didn't do too much against him. McCann hit a 3-run homer off him, but he did get a lot of strikeouts in that matchup. So I like Savali. Gonna be a GPP option. I don't feel safe for it in cash. In Chicago we do got a big ballpark. Cellular Park is pretty big. Just not totally convinced yet on the K numbers. Indians as a whole have a really good staff this year, so maybe that's a good competition amongst the group to try to produce. But I do like him for GPPs. Next up, we have Zach Greenke, 8.5 total. Comes in as an underdog. Kind of tells you a little bit about the spot on the other side for the Astro Bats. Maybe they're not looking too enticing against Bassett. Kind of funky lines, funkiness around this game in general. So I'm looking to stay away from the Astros because I'm unsure why they're an underdog, why it's an 8.5 total. with Greenke on the mound. Greenke 10-2, his salary's really high. I kind of am favor Bauer in this spot. He does have 8 Ks per 9 on average in his career, 23% K rate, only 10% swing and strike rate. But he does have a 53% ground ball rate this year with 36% hard contact. So guys are beating it into the ground, and they ain't beating it into the ground hard. Greenke got that EFS 69 mile per hour curveball. It's really tough on batters to get a good piece of it. So, Greenke does limit homers pretty well. The A's have been hit or miss this year. Some stacks go off, some stacks don't. So, big ballpark in Oakland. I could see Greenke. I just worry about the K numbers. Athletics put the ball in play pretty well. Have been hot and have been cold at times. So a lot of just unknown in this Houston-Oakland game that I just want to stay away from. But I can understand a Greenke play for sure. All right, next up we have Julio Yurias, biggest favorite on the slate at 260, 9 total, 9,800 steep for a guy I'm not sure he's going to last past the 5th inning. So I'm unsure about playing Urias. I think he's going to get some play as that 260 favorite. People are going to see that in cash. They're going to gravitate towards it, feeling safe. I, however, don't feel too safe about the play. I don't think his K upside is high enough. 9K per 9 is quite good, but his K rate's only 26%, telling me he's overachieving a little bit. 57% hard contact rate, so he's giving up hard contact. It is going into the ground a lot more often than not with 48% ground ball rate. Urias, I think, understandable play. It's not for me. I'm big on Bauer. I'm big on Boyd. I think their K numbers are more consistent throughout their career. I think Savali's a little sneaky. I question it, but I still think I'll play it. Urias, I just don't see enough K upside at 9,800, and Greenke, I just feel funky about that line. I understand the plays. I just wanted to highlight those. Everything else, every other pitcher I don't feel too safe on. But like I said, I wanted to get you some thoughts on pitching, and now we'll move into some hitting positions that I like. Today, a couple games start out. Atlanta and Philly with a 9.5 total. Right on the mound for Atlanta. Velasquez on the mound for Philly. Big spot for the Braves. I'm not a big fan of Velasquez. He gives up a lot of walks. He gives up a lot of hits. Guys get in position and get on base. His K numbers aren't as high, and that's how he used to get out of jams, as he would strike guys out. But I think those numbers have regressed a lot, and I think Atlanta Braves, big stack on the slate. Freeman came back off of a couple of days off, hit a homer last night. They got players like Swanson batting high in the order, Inciarte, Acuna, some lefties very strong in play. Going to be a big Brave stack fan this tonight. I don't mind the Philly side either. Wright has shown inconsistency. Maybe the home team can pull out a victory here, and maybe it's just a high-scoring affair. So I'll have some exposure to the Philly bats as well. Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Hasley, Real Muto, and McCutchen. I'll have some exposure there. Next game up, we got Toronto and Boston, 10.5 total. I went to the Blue Jays last night. Bo Bichette hit a homer for me. Gurriel had a couple of hits. It was hit or miss. I missed some spots on the Blue Jays side, which led to some fringe cash lines, and you'll have it. You can't get it right every time, and you certainly just try to stick to the process. Process is telling me to go right back to the Blue Jays. Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio was a letdown last night, but I think he bounces back strong. Travis Shaw could be a really cheap option. Rowdy Tellez, another cheap option. Those guys can hit homers, so guys can get on base in front of them. They can smack them in with a bomb. You'll be sitting pretty in a stack. That's what I like. Randall Kachuk, really good outfield option as well for Toronto. Really good reverse splits. Hits righties really well. In a good spot against the Weber for the Red Sox. Red Sox going up against who is that Blue Jays pitcher tonight? I can't remember. I didn't write it down, but Boston in a good spot as well. Oh, Tanner Roark. Roark had a long delay. because of the canceled series over the weekend. So he could be a little erratic, but I think Roark is kind of hard to target against. Bogarts has a homer off his career. Moreland batting over 285. This is Kevin Pillar Revenge Day, or it could be Kevin Pillar Revenge Series. We're not sure which we're going to get. J.D. Martinez and Jackie Bradley Jr. obviously options to tail into that stack. But Boston's okay. I like the Toronto side better. Next team up, we have the Twins in a 9.5 total. Max Kepler. Buxton has really good BVP against the gentleman for the Twins. Oh, shucks. Who is the Twins? I can't remember who the Twins are facing. Shoot. I should write these down. I have Buxton down for a homer. Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano. Junis from the Chiefs. Or from the Royals. Junis from the Royals. Sorry for that. My memory, as I love it at times, it can be wrong and could be off. But, Twins are facing Junis. Rosario, Sano, Cruz. Buxton has good BVP, and Kepler in a 9.5 total. Twins kind of let me down over the past couple of days, but always a good spot for them to do well when they're facing a division opponent they've seen a lot of. Next up, we have the Indians. Like I said, they're facing off against Cease. Just saw them, and they just put up 13 runs. Exactly, I believe they put up 9 in 3 innings last night against the Cincinnati Reds to close them out and win the Ohio Cup. But we got an 8.5 total. I'm thinking that total is wrong. Zimmer hit a homer off Cease recently. Hernandez went 2 for 2. Lindor's really good BVP. Jose hit 2 homers, a triple last night. He's really hitting the ball well. Has been all season. Carlos Santana's kind of been struggling, but we get a discounted price on him. Love the Indian stack. I think that they can go off in this spot. I've been harping on how bad they've been playing, but watching the game last night, the plate appearances looked really good against Castillo. Castillo still struck guys out, but he had to work hard for it. So the bats looked really strong. He had 105 pitches through 5. So like I said, Indian stack good tonight, good to go. A couple late games on the hitting side that we could talk about here. The Angels on a 9.5 total. Trout swag, baby swag at full max. All in on Trout as always. You can't go wrong there. Goodwin hitting the ball well from the left side for the Angels. He's going to fill in for Ohtani when Ohtani's not in the lineup. He'll platoon as well with Upton from time to time. You got Pujols hitting the ball pretty well, Rendon, and La Stella. That's some good spots against Jordan Lyles from the Rangers. 9.5 total, and they're a minus 150 favorite. And they got a guy on the mound I don't feel confident in at all. That just tells me the Angels are going to go off. So I'm going to have some Angels exposure. And lastly, we have the Dodgers against the Giants. Giants kind of do really well in this rivalry. We're at home for the Dodgers, though, against Samardzija on the mound. Really love the lefties and righties in this matchup. I have no faith in Jeff Samardzija as a whole. Better wide receiver than pitcher, if you ask me. AJ Pollock, Bellinger, Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, and Justin Turner all line up really well versus Samardzija and the Shark. So that'll wrap it up for another edition of Parking Lot Picks. Like I said, it was short and sweet today, but we'll get back to it with some weekend work, and some cores will be out later for early slate. Well, for main slate and the late slate, we got a couple of tiers to do tonight as well. As always, find me on Twitter at TKNation47. Like and subscribe our videos. It's greatly appreciated. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Much appreciated, gentlemen, and have a fun Friday.